You're listening to a Raconteur Studios podcast.
Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the After Our Skin Clinic. I'm Dr. Emma Craythorne, a consultant dermatologist and your host. When we launched the After Our Skin Clinic, it was actually to answer all of those burning questions that people tend to ask me after the clinic doors have closed. And today is no exception, because I'm joined by my dear friend, Michelle Visage, who literally meets me after the clinic for a walk and typically hits me with the most informed, challenging questions I've had all day.
Thank you.
If you were to join Michelle and I on one of our walks together, you do need to keep up, both physically and mentally, because these are really not just casual strolls. They're rapid-fire conversations covering everything from skincare to sisterhood, health obsessions to the latest in beauty. And there's a little bit, actually quite a lot of life philosophy thrown in there for good measure. We take the walking path instead of the car, just to stretch the conversation that little bit longer. And there's something really about moving through London, weaving through the streets and walking through the park that actually mirrors the way the conversation tends to flow. So I almost want to imagine that you are coming on that walk with us today. And actually, when I asked Michelle, did she want to come on and do the podcast with me? And we could imagine it's one of these conversations. We both said two words. Do you remember?
What?
If someone was listening, good luck.
All right, exactly. Both of us. I just thought I said something naughtier.
So Michelle is obviously a woman who needs absolutely no introduction. If you're ever out with her, then as she walks past, everybody looks behind you. I don't know if you see this, but everybody knows you and everybody is so excited to be in your company. Aww. You can see the love that people really have for you. I remember that night out that we had and I was coming behind you with Annie and everybody was just going, it's Michelle Visage and wanting to talk to you.
How sweet.
But if for some reason you have been living under a rock and you have no idea who she is, then she is a singer, a TV judge, a drag legend, and a real fierce advocate for self-expression, beauty, and really unapologetic confidence. So, before we get into everything there is related to skin, welcome to the show, Michelle.
I'm so happy that I'm here with you, my dear friend, and I'm so happy that you do this. I think it's really important because for the people that are listening, I do, and I'm not the only one, I'm sure in your life, but I hit you all the time. I send you pictures, I ask you questions, and you're just so wonderfully generous with your time. And that was a beautifully poetic introduction, which sums up our friendship very well.
And I always think as well when we're walking, we're thinking, okay, I might just stretch this out a bit longer. And when we get to that point where I could go home a bit earlier, I think, nah, I'm just going to keep walking and we'll carry this conversation on.
I love it. It's so fun. I look forward to those moments.
But it is true. You do ask me a lot of questions. Not the most I've ever had, but it is getting up there.
Right.
You are somebody who is incredibly interested in health, aren't you?
Very well informed, very not only interested, I'm so intrigued by it. I think it stemmed from my own health anxiety, growing up in a not healthy family and realizing that we are not all the time, but a lot of times in control of our own destinies in many ways, especially when it comes to health. That, like I said, not everything. You can't control some things. Genetics are genetics. And
time can't control it.
Correct. We all face an end at some point, but while we're here, a few years ago, I made a decision to try to make my life the healthiest it could be. So I started really diving into studies and data. And I, in another life, probably would have been a doctor if I could focus on academia.
I mean, you would have been. You for fun spend your time looking at PubMed and research papers.
I love it.
So do I.
Good. That's exactly why we get along, except you have the knowledge and I am the layperson saying, but I read this and can't this and I'll try this. And I come to you a lot of times with guinea pig stuff that I do on myself and I am your living, breathing guinea pig.
There's been a few guinea pigs things.
Exactly. And I am very willing to do it. But yeah, I'm very intrigued by the human body and what it can do and how far we could push it.
So why do you think that you had that health anxiety then? Because you did once tell me, I'm such a hypochondriac. But I don't think you are a hypochondriac. I think that you just seem to be interested and well-informed and wanting to try and, be the best version of your health that you can be. It doesn't come across to me like a hypochondriac.
They can coexist.
Yeah.
So health anxiety started because my parents were not healthy and my mother died at 56. I just turned 56.
It's a big one, isn't it?
Huge one when she's not even my biological mother.
Yeah.
So this is how irrational it was. But I watched her not take care of herself my whole life. I watched her not be healthy. I watched her eat incorrect foods. I watched her never take a step for health. So I think I always had the fear of the opposite. Like, I'm going to go to the doctors. I'm going to go to all the doctors. I'm going to reverse anything that I have. I believe that things can be reversed through proper healthcare and eating and fitness. And again, not everything. I'm not a cuckoo. I am vaccinated. I vaccinated my children. I want to cover that.
She's definitely not cuckoo. We've
Correct.
had long discussions. She's not verified. We can trust her.
Yes, you can to a certain extent because I am not the doctor. But at some point I said, I got to stop feeding this neuroses and take control of it. So I find the strength of coming out of health anxiety in my own choices.
Because you have really gone through a massive transformation. You know, people will say, oh, you've had the ultimate glow up, but it's more the ultimate health up that is the ultimate glow up, because the most important thing is being this biologically healthy version of yourself.
Right.
Talk me through that.
I think a lot of people focus on the outside, on the physicality, on the, oh, well, if I had the money to have a chef and a tummy tuck, I would too. But I don't have that kind of money. A. B, everything I did, I couldn't take the easy way out because I have the number one autoimmune in the world, which is Hashimoto's, and I've had it for 28 years now. When I was first diagnosed, it was a horrible experience and nobody prepared me for what was to come. Everybody just says, take this Synthroid or take this pill. You're going to be on it for the rest of your life. Nobody says you can reverse this. And if you can't reverse it completely, you can lessen it. You could take your numbers down. There are things you can do. But no endocrinologists tell us that. They just do not. So it was probably 20 years of me studying and researching and diving deeper in all those things. So I think it started with my implants and having breast implant illness and doing the documentary called Explant, which you can watch on Paramount Plus, to really kickstart the health journey because I had been sick for years. I had gone in for echocardiograms. My gynecologist in New Jersey thought that I might have had MVP, mitral valve prolapse, all these things. So that's where my diving started because I thought, something isn't right. But because the FDA approved the implants, no doctor wanted to agree that maybe it could be the implants. As a matter of fact, I've probably seen about 8 to 10 endocrinologists over, let's say, a span of 25 years. And one of them even said to me, don't take your implants out because that could unleash something else. And I was like, what? So I'm telling you. So all these things were happening simultaneously. So when that doctor was like wrong, I'd go to another doctor, kept jumping. And that's not the best thing either. But like then I had one, and these were all functional medicine doctors who were MDs, by the way, not chiropractors who decided to become functional medicine doctors. No disrespect, but these were MDs. Yes. And they would say things like, I'd get a food intolerance test and they'd say, well, literally this happened to me. You are reactive to every single food, every one. So I'd look at him and go, well, what am I supposed to do? And he'd say, eat a little bit of everything. Until I dove deeper and found out that I had celiac and all these other things. So the long story of me answering your question is I had to take control of my health, and it started with explanting. And then from there, I started to really go deep and figure out what my body was saying to me and how I was going to listen to it and react.
So what kind of things do you do on a daily basis?
I was a vegan for 6 years, very strict soya-free, gluten-free vegan. And in the beginning, it was going really well for me. And then my bloods just crashed. Took about 4 years and they hit rock bottom. And I felt shame around that. A lot of shame. I became kind of a poster child for veganism. And there's a lot of guilt, almost like when you have children and you can't breastfeed and the mafia comes after you, the La Leche mafia, and they guilt you for not being able to breastfeed. And it's akin to what I felt when I realized, and the doctors were telling me, you got to stop veganism. You need animal protein. And I could not morally or ethically comprehend that. And I started dipping my toe back in with some broth, not beef. I will not eat beef ever or mammals. So I started kind of with fish and poultry. And even to this day, I struggle with it, but I started adding fish and eggs back into my diet. Eggs only over the past year. So slowly my numbers started to get better in my blood labs. And I realized that not one diet is good for everybody.
I think that's exactly right. It's a bit like whenever we talk about the skin and somebody comes in and says, oh, but I saw this influencer and this is what they were using on their skin, so I've bought it for me. That's exactly the same thing. Not every skin type will respond to the same kind of creams or treatments, but it's the same with diet. Everybody's bodies are different and people will respond differently to different intakes of nutrition.
Same way carnivore diet is not good for everybody. Veganism is not good for everybody.
Yeah.
I absolutely 100% encourage every single human on this planet to eat more vegetables if you don't have diverticulitis or whatever, because you can't go wrong with vegetables. But for me, I couldn't exist on only plant-based fuel. So when I started that, my numbers started to shift and I realized, okay, there are certain things I morally and ethically still cannot ingest. But I adopted something called AIP, which was literally the last ditch effort because I started to get panic attacks.
AIP?
It's called the autoimmune protocol. And it's specifically for people with autoimmune issues. And it was a game changer for me. And not only explanting, and my blood started to get better the first year of explanting, but I still was holding on to inflammation. So autoimmune protocol is also an anti-inflammatory diet, but it removes every single potential inflammatory food. So it's not for the faint. It is not for the weak at heart, because it took me probably 4 years. Annie, who's my friend, but I also work with her here in the UK. When I sent her the food list, she can back me up with how many times I attempted it. And I was like, I can't do this, until the panic attacks started to come back. And I said, I'm done. I am done. I am going to do this wholeheartedly. And I didn't tell anybody this time. I didn't even tell her. I told nobody. I was in lockdown in New Zealand and we were in a hotel room. You're stuck in there for 2 weeks. And I was not going to sit there and have panic attacks with the food they were giving me. So I did the best that I could. I got out of there and I stuck to it. And I have not stopped for 3 years. January 7th was 3 years that I've been on this. And I don't know if I'll ever be completely reverted back. Like I'll never eat gluten again. I can't. Being a celiac, I don't think I'll ever eat dairy again either. But I've incorporated eggs back in the last year. So there is no nuts, no beans, no seeds, no legumes, no dairy, no nightshades, no gluten, no soy.
And so what do you have for breakfast?
So breakfast for me now would be maybe some broth, and I don't have too much collagen. So I'll have probably 5 egg whites because I do train very heavy at the gym. And being a 56-year-old woman, postmenopausal, if you're going to do this, the only way we're going to shift that weight and change our body is with heavy resistance training. Mm-hmm. Women cannot be afraid to lift heavy weights.
Going back to the point as well that we just talked about, how diets are different for everyone. Exercise is so different for everyone as well, because at different times of our life, different ways of exercising are optimal. You know, whenever you're younger, cardiovascular exercise, and whenever you're getting older, plyometrics and weight training and all of these kind of exercises.
Can I tell you what my day looks like?
I want to hear exactly what your day looks like.
I would love to share that with you.
Tell me.
So I get up around 6 or 6:30.
Yeah.
And then I walk 3 miles every day. My husband walks with me, I'd say 90% of the time, but he craps out at 2 miles. I walk 3 miles. Is it a random number? Yes, but it's what I feel good at. So I'll do 3 miles.
And how long does that take you?
An hour.
An hour.
15 minutes to an hour. And then I come home and I make breakfast. And it's my goal is 30 grams of protein in the morning. Your goal should be, if you're trying to really change your body, I'm not talking about losing weight. I'm talking about I want to be jacked at my age, because they had told me many times, you'll never do it. You're postmenopausal. Yes, we lose muscle mass faster, my age, but that doesn't mean we can't maintain it and gain it. So I have 30 grams of protein. And that way, probably egg whites almost always. I don't eat steak. I don't know how else I'm going to get it in my face unless I make some tuna. And I only eat tuna in glass jars, so there's no
And you don't eat lentils?
No, I can't have beans.
No beans.
No legumes.
Okay. So you've done your walk, done your breakfast.
Done my breakfast. So then I'll do whatever during the day, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm
Which
working.
is a lot.
It's a lot. Sometimes I'm working. Sometimes I'm cleaning. Sometimes I'm mothering, whatever I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing, I'm always mothering. So I'll get that done. And then I do a workout probably around 4 or 5 o'clock, which starts with probably 20 minutes to a half an hour of a Peloton ride, low impact. And then I will do a probably half-hour weight training session. And I do push-pull legs. And then a 7th day, I take off. That is 6 days a week. Does it sound crazy? Yes. Does it make me feel good? Yes. Am I overdoing it? I'm not. I'm walking.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's very regimented and very controlled.
It is, and I'm 56, and I don't want to be 76 and falling. I want to be agile. I want to be always moving, always present. And again, I want to show my kids that we never have to stop moving. You don't have to be obsessed. I don't do CrossFit. I don't do HIIT stuff. You don't have to. And it's shifted everything in my body. I have muscles where when I was younger, I wished I had muscles the way that I have them now. I wish I can build them stronger. I don't eat enough protein to really get to where my goal would be. And I don't intend on eating that much because I'm just not a big eater, believe it or not.
But you've really, really have transformed your body, haven't you?
Thank you. And I really have done it.
And you look amazing.
Thank you. Listen, I do have skin. I'm not going to have surgery. I took my boobs out. I had the skin lifted because they were massive, but I do have a tummy skin. I had 2 cesareans. My first daughter was 10 pounds. There's only so much you can do. I do Morpheus. I've had 8 treatments on my stomach. For my arms, I haven't done anything except lotions and potions, which we'll get into, but that does nothing. But in my head, it makes the skin look prettier. So
it does make the skin look prettier.
So in turn, it looks less floppy, but it's still. So the only way to get rid of that, ladies, at my age, is to build the muscle to fill the space because our skin loses elasticity really after the age of 40, but even before that, you start, I think after 25, you start.
From 25, that's right, you start.
I'm a good student.
Yeah, she's done so well.
Thank
You've got
you.
a gold star. Yeah, but it's from the age of 25. And then actually when we get to our postmenopausal time, those first 3 years after that date of menopause is whenever it really does crash down. But it's not even just about the collagen in the skin, it's the way the skin barrier is made as well. So this idea of putting on creams under the body to help moisturize the skin, it's certainly not going to get rid of excess skin or wrinkly skin or any, it just, that of course is never going to happen. But by moisturizing the skin, it does keep it looking more glowy and it feeling more comfortable. And actually the very, very surface, tiny little kind of creases that we get in our skin, if they're hydrated, they are plumped out a little bit.
How do you feel about the topical, non-invasive, but painful treatments like the Morpheus is?
So Morpheus is something called microneedling radiofrequency. And essentially what happens is that you have little tiny needles put into the skin and you can depend on what depth it is. You can decide that depth. And then a little current is placed between them and it causes a heating. And that heating causes the deeper part of the skin to become slightly tighter together. So it gets referred to as a tightening device. To call it a tightening device is probably a bit of a stretch. Mm-hmm. But in truth, we do see good changes in the skin in terms of thickening up that middle part of the dermis. So we really like it for conditions like acne scarring. It can be really helpful for. It can be helpful for around the neck area and the areas that you're talking about on the tummy.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't replace a tummy tuck.
None of these things replace surgery. So it's very helpful for acne scarring because you're not going to have a load of surgery for acne scarring, but where people will sometimes be having lots done on their lower face to try and stave off a facelift, well, it's just not going to do that.
We're still going to need a facelift.
You're still, we're going to do this together.
Right.
That's what we said.
Right, exactly. Which, by the way, you don't need for a lot longer. I need it now, but I have questions.
Not true.
With that, now I've done it on my tummy. I'm lucky enough to have done it 8 times.
And it is painful.
Painful is the understatement of the year. It is hell.
Yeah.
But a lot of places will give you topical. I can't do it because I can't have epinephrine. And I know there is a non-epinephrine
topical,
but most places don't have it. So I just have a numbing cream for an hour and I tolerate it. However, I did find out now that my girl, who's amazing, started using the cooling device from like an IPL.
Yes.
Game changer. Game changer. I will do it always. I did it on my back too because you lose weight and you get the bits. Because I said, should I cool sculpt it? And she's like, no, it's skin.
Yeah.
It's not fat. You have no fat. It's skin. But to the naked eye, skin looks like fat because it's flopping. And when you have what they call an apron after having 2 cesareans of giant babies, the only thing that can really get rid of it is a tummy tuck.
How big were your babies?
One was 10 pounds.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's
one was
big.
8 pounds, 10 ounces.
Yeah, that's
so I had big babies. And
you don't have a particularly big hips.
No, I'm small.
You're tiny.
I'm very up and down. So I stretched, but I also did not eat well during my pregnancy. It was ice cream every day. It was horrible. I wish I did my pregnancies differently, but here we are. The point that I wanted to, to ask you was, how effective do you think they really are? But you've said.
And how effective do you think they are?
I think it's done wonders.
Yeah.
Has it completely sucked me in? No. But the difference for me is extraordinary. But I don't think I could wear a crop top.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably sums it up rightly. If you are committed and you're prepared to do lots of treatments, you will see a difference. And lots of treatments are very expensive.
Yes.
And they can be very painful.
They are very painful.
Yeah. And so you've got to bear that in mind if you're...
Worth it, though.
But if you're prepared to do it, then it can make a difference, but not the same kind of difference that surgery would necessarily make. But then surgery is invasive, by the very nature that it's surgery.
And a risk.
Yeah. The whole risk that goes with being put asleep, that's a very small risk, I'm just going to say, but it's still a risk. Anesthetic is a very safe thing, so I don't mean to put anybody off, but it is still a risk.
Right. No, I agree. But there probably will come a time where I'll never do my stomach, but I will do my neck. I've done a few.
Did you do Morpheus on your neck?
Okay, a long time ago. I did the other one. There was one before Morpheus. It was called Intensive.
Okay, yeah.
And I saw an initial difference, but not enough to judge it. If I did 6 treatments, that's a different story, but not enough to judge it. Would I try it? Probably, now that I know I have that cooling device and it's a game changer. So I might try it again. I've done 2 on my back and I've done 1 on my arms, but I'd like to do more on my arms to really judge it. So I'm a guinea pig for her as well.
And each of the devices are different. So some of them are slightly more risk of causing something called fat atrophy, where you actually lose a bit of fat. So annoyingly, what can then happen is it makes the skin saggier. Yeah, so that can happen because if you overheat between the 2 little needles, then that can happen. So I like the Morpheus device. I really like Lutronics is another company that makes a microneedling radiofrequency, and they coat a lot of their needles so that really reduces the risk then of developing this atrophy. So I quite like those devices as well. Where are we on our walk? In the park.
Yeah, we're in the park at this point.
In that lovely garden.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty, isn't it?
And the dogs are running and the people are around us.
And I was just pointing out because the gardener just finished it because it was the change of season.
Yes.
And you said that one of your children would just love to look at that.
Lily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. But in the summer when we do this walk, when I'm back in August, it'll be gorgeous.
Isn't that interesting that her name's Lily and Lily likes gardening?
Is a botanist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
you must have foreseen the future.
Not me with the black thumb. Absolutely not. My husband is a green thumb, but Lily's quite amazing. And we do this walk because I come to Dr. Emma's clinic because I had a spot. What do you call it? What kind of spot?
The most annoying spot I've ever seen in my life, and
Agreed.
I hate it.
Agreed. That. So
it's actually the tiniest spot that you can ever imagine.
It wasn't, though.
But it wasn't, though. It wasn't. It was very obvious, and I didn't like looking at it.
And then I gave it to you.
That's right. So to put in mind, this spot, it's something called a lichenoid keratosis.
Thank you.
And it's a bit of previous sun damage. It leaves a brown mark on the skin, but very faint brown. And then the background to it is actually red. And then I thought, oh, we can treat that. So we started to treat the spot. And after the first time of treating the spot, I developed a lichenoid keratosis at exactly the same point.
It was crazy.
On exactly the same cheek.
Yep.
It was so crazy. However, I treated mine.
Yeah.
And mine went after 1, but yours has still got a very, very faint remnant there.
3 times we've treated it.
Yeah.
We even CO2'd it once.
We did CO2 it, yeah. That's why I think it's still a bit red, to be honest, from that.
And I think it's from my childhood, from all the tanning, because I haven't tanned in a very long time, like proper.
It's your Irish roots, but you see.
And I only have a little bit. I've got 15%, but it's sucking up the sun damage, isn't it?
But you do look Irish, I think.
I do.
Yeah.
I do look it. But if you look at my heritage, it's crazy that I don't have more. I thought for sure that I would have so much more in it, and I didn't. But I do look it.
And normally you've got the accent as well.
Only because I sound like you.
When you're taking the piss out of my voice.
I love it. It's one of my favorite accents. But we're talking
But that's not the best thing you came to see me about.
My armpit? Oh, tell everybody about that. Go
Can
on.
we tell everyone about that?
I got laser hair removal, and just know it's the ones that don't hurt. It's not the IPL. It's the soprano eyes. Yeah. So I had like, I don't know, 6 sessions of it. And I was like, this is great. If this takes my hair away, I don't feel it. Well, what it did was, folliculitis, what would you call it?
Yeah, so a hair essentially that hadn't gone away continued to grow and it got a bit blocked. And then you had a folliculitis around that.
And it hurt.
And then it got bigger.
Huge. It got like really big. So then at one point that happened and it burst and it went away. And then I'm friends with Dr. Pimple Popper in the US. She has a television show, which is akin to Dr. Emma's. And I came here and it regrew because it turned into a little hard frozen pea. And she said, you got to get it out. And that's probably best to get it out when it's little before it comes back. I'm like, it's not going to come back. It's like frozen. It's tiny. And then, of course, it started swelling up again. And this time, quadruple the size to what it was. And it was so tender to the touch, I couldn't take it anymore. And I called Dr. Lee, and she said, I'm going to tell you the me in the UK. I'm friends with her. I just met her. She's fantastic. You guys met at a conference or something?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right.
And she gave me your info, and I said, is it okay if I use your name? She said, please. So I contacted you. You said, oh, yeah, come right in. I sent you a picture. Came in.
Like, oh, I love a spot in an armpit.
That thing was so deep. Literally.
It was, to put it in context, it went right up to my first joint.
Really? It was that deep?
Yeah. Oh, and also the point, remember, you don't have adrenaline, which is always annoying.
I don't have adrenaline.
Epinephrine,
correct.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay. So she was shooting me up, and of course it runs out in 5 minutes?
Yeah, but it's more importantly, it just stops anything bleeding whenever you put
so
epinephrine in. It didn't bleed a lot, but although I do a lot of surgery, I don't like blood. I like everything to be nice and neat and kind of like perfect.
Right. But it couldn't be because I can't have the epinephrine.
Yeah.
And you have to keep injecting. Anyway, it was really 99% painless and it was amazing. And it was huge. But the point of this is, as I'm healing, I go home to change the dressing. She gives me everything, tells me what to do. And I was like, I'm voice noting her going, Emma, I have a vagina.
I think I still have those voice notes.
I have a vagina in my armpit. It's wide open. And she voice notes me back and she's like, yeah, it heals from the inside out. You can't close it or else it won't heal, right? Because it can get infection or something.
Yeah.
So I can't understand, as great of a mind as I think I am, I can't comprehend that healing from the inside. And then what, when it's done healing and then the outside closes?
That's right. So what actually happens is, because this cyst had actually already burst.
Right.
And it created something called an abscess. So there's no real cyst wall with it, till we did get bits of the cyst wall out. You're then able to, the whole of the inside of the armpit has started to break down a little bit where the fat is. And so you clear all of that out. But if you just stitch that back up together, the tissues won't hold very well anyway. But you don't want to trap anything in that really almost needs to get out. But also, more importantly, you don't want it to heal on the surface and then leave a space in the middle. So you keep it open so it can gradually heal from the very bottom up, and then it seals over at the top.
So you stitched the inside part.
So you stitch the inside to hold it together. Sometimes, even if these abscesses are so big, we pack it with ribbon, and then we take a little bit of the ribbon out each day so that it can fill up from the bottom. But the most important thing is that it heals up from the bottom rather than just, putting stitches across the top of it.
You guys are amazing.
We can put stitches across the top of it whenever it's all intact and it's nice and neat.
Not when there's a space
but not
under.
Whenever it's already infected, it's already abscessed, it's already draining. Yeah.
And there's a cavern.
There
was a cavern. So that's what she did. I have questions that are not about me. I have regular questions that I would normally.
What's up, me? Okay, go for it.
Like the SPF drama, when you see all these kids on TikTok saying, I will never use it. It's much healthier to go out. And it's like, no, SPF is there for a reason. However, I will not wear anything with avobenzone. And I don't know if they use that in this country, but I feel like they do. So I want to hear your thoughts. And I also wear it on the plane because you're more susceptible. And a lot of people don't know you should wear SPF on the airplane. Can you talk about the drama of SPF and tell everybody again why it's so important? And can you tell me the dangers of avobenzone?
So with SPF, we know that ultraviolet radiation in the same way as a cigarette, for example, is classed as a class 1 carcinogen.
Right.
So we know that ultraviolet radiation causes skin cancer. That doesn't necessarily happen in one visit out to the sunshine, of course, but it happens over a period of time. The most important thing in terms of developing skin cancer is protection from ultraviolet B rays. So really what hits our skin from the sun is ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B. Ultraviolet A is the thing that tans our skin and gives us the brown spots. And also, because it penetrates deeply into our skin, is the things that gives us wrinkles. So it ages you early. So if you imagine looking, say, at the inside of your arm, and then you look at the outside of your arm, you can see that difference. And that's really ultraviolet A radiation causing that aging. So if you are really concerned about aging of the skin and you want to keep your skin looking as young as possible for as long as possible, then protecting against ultraviolet A is key. And it's protecting all year round. So it's from the moment the sun comes up to the moment the sun comes down. And it's daylight. It's not just bright sunlight. It comes through clouds. It comes through windows.
Rain, yes.
Comes through rain. Comes through your car door.
Do you wear it every day?
Every single day.
Same.
Every single day.
Yeah.
The other thing is ultraviolet B radiation. And that's the thing that burns the skin. And that's really what causes the majority of the skin cancers that we would see. And really, say in the UK, you only really need to protect yourself against UVB from about the end of March until about October. So you don't need to wear SPF every day if you're protecting against skin cancers.
What do you mean? What do you mean? If you're wearing your sunscreen every day anyway, aren't you protecting against A and B?
You are, but for some people, they think, I only want to wear an SPF to protect against skin cancer. I'm not bothered about aging of the skin.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
OSA.
And so for those people, you only really need to wear it from about the end of March until about the end of October, because in the UK, we don't get anywhere near enough UVB. You don't get it in the winter pretty much at all, not enough to cause any damage.
But might as well chuck it on every day anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm doing it for aging purposes, obviously as well as skin cancer purposes, but really it is for both. So you might as well get in the habit of putting it on every single day.
And what about if somebody does, I don't know, Clera, and we have tretinoin and retinoids on our skin every night? Aren't we more...
Tell me about that, Michelle.
I shall tell you about Clera in a second. But I think anybody that used tretinoin or retinoids should 100% wear sunblock every day, right?
Yeah. Anyone who is trying to keep their skin looking younger, keeping healthier for longer, should put their SPF on every single day.
Okay.
But there are people who say, well, I'm only doing it for skin cancer reasons. And for those people, I say, okay, well, you know, these are the times then you would have to do it, is March to October. But for anybody who's very serious about skincare, very serious about keeping their skin looking healthy as possible for as long as possible, protecting against brown spots, protecting against rosacea flares, and, you know, protecting from wrinkles, then it's wearing it every single day is key. And if you're going to the hassle of using an amazing topical cream like Clera...
Agreed. We'll talk about that in a second.
Then, you know, there's no point in even using Clera unless you're going to use your SPF as well.
Agreed. Let's talk about the chemical known as avobenzone.
So avobenzone, it was a very good SPF filter, and it's a very old-fashioned filter. It's been around for a long time, and it was added to many of the SPFs in the early days. Now,
it's still around.
It's still around. But nowadays, more of the sophisticated formulations, and especially in Europe, where we've got a lot of free reign with our SPF filters, there are much more stable filters. So avobenzone is actually not a very stable filter anyway, and it breaks down quite quickly. So the filter would wear down.
So you just reapply and reapply.
So you'd have to keep reapplying. Whereas many of the filters now, you put that filter on and that filter is stable for pretty much the day.
Can't you just get a clear zinc and be done with it?
So zinc is interesting because zinc is by nature, you can see the zinc. So you've got, you know, you can see the colour of it.
I have a hack for that.
But what some of the companies do is they make it smaller. So they nanoize it. In other words, they get the zinc compound. And instead of being able to see it and it reflects off white, they miniaturize it. And you can microionize it or nanoionize it. So you make it so small.
Does that dilute it?
It just makes it so tiny that when you apply it onto the skin, it doesn't have that same reflectant look. But it also doesn't have the same protection.
That's what I mean. Does it dilute them?
Yeah.
So what I do is if I have a zinc that casts white, I take some tanning, not a tanning lotion, but a bronzer, like one of the liquid bronzers, and I put them in there together. So when I put them on, it breaks the white cast.
I love that. And I actually think that a lot of people would do very well with that because it's pretty easy to tolerate the zinc. The only slight downside I have with zinc is that actually at the end of the day, you have to take it off properly because zinc is a metal. As it breaks down on our skin, it actually can cause a little bit of oxidative stress. And it does break down. So it can potentially cause oxidative stress, like something like pollution can cause on the skin.
But if you're washing your face.
But you have to wash it off.
Right.
Yeah. So the idea of leaving it on might be a problem. But even leaving on some of the other filters that we get in our SPFs can contribute to things like acne. So the breakdown products of it can add to acne.
I know you love La Roche-Posay, but I use Kosas. I use any kind of tinted sunscreen that has a sunscreen of at least 30 plus, and I wear it every day. And because I don't wear makeup when I'm not working, I don't mind reapplying. Listen, I'm different to you. I'm different to you.
Yeah.
They could be like, Michelle, shut up. I'm in an office. I can't start reapplying. I understand that, but there are powder sunscreens too that you can put on top of the sunscreen. Like, I'm serious about protecting my skin. I had too many scares because I was such a sun addict when I was young. Addict, beds, 4 days a week, the beach. This is my spot saying.
You've done so well because honestly, you do have Irish skin that's more than 15% Irish skin. I'm convinced of it. And with that amount of sun exposure, you should have about 500 of those little spots rather than just one. I think that's why that one annoys me so much.
Because the rest is clear.
Yeah.
And I was just telling her off camera that so many people are complimenting my skin, especially in the past few days. And listen, I've been a devotee to Cleara for well over a year now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was a guinea pig for the Cleara Special for the body. I use it
literally a guinea pig.
I was the beta.
We don't test on animals, just Michelle.
And I've been in skincare and onto skincare since I was probably about 17 years old. My mother didn't preach it, but I knew that it was the right thing to do for some reason. I was always really into my skin. And yes, I tanned and I didn't link it because back in the 80s, there wasn't really a link.
And also, it seemed like it was a good thing to do in the 80s,
Yeah.
right? Like to have a tan was the...
Everybody's like, my skin has never looked better than when it, because it's drier.
Yeah.
So I never really had any kind of acne to deal with. The only time I ever had acne was when I used a product by a company, I'm going to say it, called Erna Laszlo. Everything had witch hazel. And it gave me something called adult muzzle acne, which I had never had before. All down here looked like I had 5 o'clock shadow. My skin doesn't do well with witch hazel. So I've always had pretty good skin. And then I started babying it probably about 15 years ago, like really dove in with cleansing every night. But my question for you is like, how much of this is crap and how much is real, like anti-aging products? Are they really going to do anything?
So for anti-aging products, the best thing you can do for an anti-aging product, number one, is wear your SPF every single day.
Correct. That's it.
Number one. Well, it's not that's it. There's two things.
Okay.
Number one is your SPF every day. And number two is a retinoid.
At night.
At nighttime. But the retinoid has to be a specific type of a retinoid. And it is only retinoic acid or tretinoin.
What's the difference between tretinoin and retinol?
So tretinoin is the active vitamin A that interacts with the genes to switch on the genes essentially that make your skin cells behave younger. So that is the active form that acts like a hormone, gets in, switches the cells on and makes them behave younger. Retinol is 2 derivatives back. So if you put retinol on your skin, your body's enzymes have to convert that retinol to retinaldehyde.
Okay.
And then your body's enzymes have to convert the retinaldehyde to the tretinoin.
So in Cleara, does it have retinol and tretinoin?
Just tretinoin.
Just tretinoin, because tretinoin is better than retinol.
It's better by a factor of around about 20 to 30.
So it's more effective.
Much more effective, and it works much more quickly.
So if you have prescription strength tretinoin, like Cleara, you don't need retinol.
No, and you don't need to at all. It's like something that's really, really potent and then having a tiny little amount of the same thing. You don't need it.
So when I do Cleara at night, I wash. After I do that, let it dry, and then I put my Cleara 2 pumps in my hand to put it on.
2 pumps every night.
2 pumps every night. Now, Dr. Emma will say that's all I need because she has spent laborious hours creating this, so you don't have to put anything else on and you can just go off to bed.
But you like a moisturizer
I
on after.
do.
Yeah, look, I know.
I do. So I let it dry and I look snatched and my skin is like shiny and gorgeous. but I need to put something on top of it. So I will put a night cream. Not intense, but something that just slicks it up. That's not going to lower any kind of efficacy.
No, not at all.
And then eye cream. So that's what I do. And then lip stuff after I've done my stuff and I go to bed. So anti-aging, we just found out, is a bunch of crap. You're being sold on the hype, even though I use it and I'm with you. Tretinoin, i.e. Cleara, you need an intense grade. You can't just have OTC, can you?
No, you can't get it over the counter.
Oh.
It is a prescription.
Great.
So you do have to have it prescribed. Even if you see things like retinol or retinal where they say, okay, but this is such a high strength of it. The problem is your body still has to do that conversion. So your body doesn't necessarily convert all of it anyway. And then it just builds up and irritates.
So that's why you do it gradually.
Yeah. So that's why even super strong doses of retinol are not equivalent to the retinoic acid or tretinoin.
So I bought into the whole topical hyaluronic acid and wetting my face first and then putting it on topically. Crap?
No, not crap. Hyaluronic acid is a really good humectant. In other words, it means that it draws water into the skin.
So it can plump.
So it can plump. It doesn't go into the skin at all. It just sits on the surface of the skin. It's not like it gets absorbed and is plumping up your skin from the inside. It doesn't do that. You have to inject it as a filler to do that, which is...
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Me neither. What is that?
What is this filler you speak of?
I don't know. It's some newfangled thing that they're talking about. So if you're putting it on topically, it just sits on the surface, but it draws water into it. And it's a really lovely ingredient to mix in with other things in a nice moisturizing agent. One thing you have to remember with the hyaluronic acid is you have to really put something else on top of it.
Well, that's what I'm
just
asking.
Just to have it by itself is
so
not
I have
so
like
good.
a little liquid capsule thing, and then I put like the snail mucin, with it, and then I do that and I put it on under everything. I'll spray some kind of toner and then I'll put it on while it's wet. I let it dry and then I do my skincare.
Yeah. I quickly want to say that if you're enjoying these episodes and like what we stand for here at the After Hours Skin Clinic, then please do me a favour and click subscribe. We're just starting out and it really helps us grow and reach more people. My team and I would really appreciate your support. Anyway, enough of that and on with the episode. If you've had an event and you're full glam, which just looks so amazing.
Thank you.
I
wish I could take the credit, but I'm just the canvas.
Yeah, well, you're a great canvas.
Thank you.
Wonderful canvas. What do you do to take it off? What's different?
Okay. Growing up, I watched my mother use something called Pond's cold cream.
Oh, yeah.
And it was around from the 1920s.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. It was the most wonderful thing I ever used, like all through high school, all through everything, just a tissue and Pond's cold cream. Then they changed the formula. I think when I was like in my 20s, they changed the formula. They put like lemon in it. Like who would do that? Now, I will say Boots has a great regular old school cold cream and I should buy one before I go and go back to that. But sadly, I fell into the makeup wipe brigade.
Does that get it all off?
It used to.
Okay.
It doesn't anymore. And I felt myself kind of tugging.
Yeah, you don't
And I
want
thought,
that.
I don't want to be tugging on my sensitive eye area as a woman of a certain age. It's not even good when you're young, but So I'll just use micellar water with the wipes. But now, like I said, I'm using, I need more emollient things these days because I do use a micellar water and a wipe and it takes the majority of it off. I do not use waterproof anything. I am anti-waterproof because it rips your eyelashes out. I know there's some people that would tell me to shut up.
It does make
Hate it.
your eyelashes
Hate it.
more brittle.
And then I will just go in with soap and water and I get, not soap and water, I'll use a cleanser.
Do you ever use the oil cleansers? Like I love the Hado Labo oil cleanser.
I love Hada Labo.
Yeah, me too.
They are so affordable and I'm not even being sponsored.
Me neither.
Love
Sponsor us, please.
Thank you. Dr. M and I will do a sponsorship.
Yeah,
That's actually
exactly.
not a bad idea. I love their gel moisturizer. I love their night cream. I love their sunscreen, although they might use avobenzone. I'm not sure. I love their masks. I just think their products are amazing.
Well, I love their oil cleanser.
There you go.
And it's one of the ones that we recommend with your clearer routine for certain skin sizes. And it's the one I use, but it's really difficult to get now. I think I've told so many people
That they
about
sell
it.
out.
It's sold out. We can't get it.
Yeah. It's a really great product.
But that's good for makeup.
Sunday Riley does really great. There's ceramic slip, I think it's called. I love that as a cleanser. Trini London has a wonderful enzyme cleanser. I said eggs because I was thinking of exosomes. How do you feel about exosomes, stem cells, peptides, and growth factors?
So I suppose that's a big subject.
Am I going too big?
Too broad. Normally we keep this niche. So if we think about peptides, so, this is something that gets added to a lot of skincare products. And peptides do different jobs. So a peptide is essentially like a small protein, and it interacts with the cells and the kind of cell signaling to make the cell behave in a certain way. And it can either act as an anti-inflammatory, or it can act as a kind of stimulator of the cell, or it can act as a kind of remover of pigment. So they work in slightly different ways. Ones that are probably super popular are ones like argyroline. That's the one that's thought to be a little bit like Botox in a bottle. Obviously, it's not Botox in a bottle. That's a marketing term. And essentially, it works on a similar pathway, which is called the SNAP25 pathway that Botox works along. And companies like SkinCeuticals have put it into their Petiox formula.
Okay.
The Ordinary have made a much more affordable form of it, but I do actually like that Petiox one a lot.
The volufiline.
Okay, that's a different thing altogether, actually. So volufiline or volufiline or
that one.
Volufiline.
Is it crap or is it good?
So I would probably stay away from that. So
okay, you're talking about staying away from the one that's like the real one by itself, but not like the serums that has it in it.
No, I don't think that it's a particularly harmful substance by any means at all. So volufiline, they did a clinical study, and the clinical study was done on people, and it was also done on cells. Yeah. And in the cells, it showed
not on animals.
In like petri dish, yeah.
Okay.
And they put the volufiline, let's say that's how you say it, onto these cells, and it's fat cells. And it was shown that it made more fat cells grow. They then have adapted this to say that if you're using it on areas like under the eyes, on areas where you've potentially lost bits of fat, that it's going to be helpful. So that was the story that the company essentially used.
Okay.
However, they then did a clinical study, and they did the clinical study looking at breast tissue. And they said if you put it on one breast and not the other, then those people who put the volufiline on, that breast was bigger.
Okay.
But the study was really, really badly done. It was really measuring the skin and not the volume of fat. Even if it was a true thing, I would be so scared about putting a product on my skin that caused fat cells to grow, because also it could essentially make tumors of fat. So things like
see. Is that why you're telling me to stay away from it?
I don't think it's going to do that, to be honest. I don't think it's going to do anything other than moisturize the skin. And I think that really that study that they did probably just shows the skin being a bit more moisturized, really, rather than the breast tissue being bigger. It was a very badly done study.
Okay.
So I don't think it works at all for that. I think maybe if you inject it into fat cells, that will make fat cells grow, potentially. But just putting it topically under your skin, I can't see any evidence to say that it's going to make your fat cells grow. So even if it did, I'd stay away from it, because
if it's going to make that grow, you're right. You're 100% right. What else is it going to make grow?
Yeah, exactly.
So what can we do for, let's say, over the age of 40, 38, 40, when our eyes start getting a little thinner underneath, like crepiness? Is there anything we could actually do? Are there any products that would actually help not plump it back up, because that's not possible, but what can we do for that really sensitive area that starts to look like a testicle sack?
You don't have any two testicle sacks hanging down there.
Listen.
You've got lovely tight testicles. Not those ripply testicles.
Do you know what I mean?
But I do know the ripply testicles that you mean. And what do we do for ripply testicles?
What can we do?
Well, there's lots of different reasons why people get eye bags or ripply testicles under their eyes. And it can be for a number of reasons.
Right.
So obviously, a bit back to like what we talked about at the beginning, looking after your entire organism. So your entire body is so important, because Our under eye area is really sensitive. So if things like we don't have enough sleep, if we don't have enough fluid in our body,
Water.
if we have bits of inflammation or irritation on our skin, say, for example, things like rosacea or eczema, and we rub our eyes, or we're using products that are too harsh and it makes our eyes itchy and we're rubbing them, all of those things mean that the area under the eyes can look dark, look hollow, and the skin can look a little bit wrinkled.
Because fillers there are not the safest.
Yeah, so there's some things that you can do topically. So 5%,
Like what?
5% caffeine gel is something that you can put onto the skin.
And what will that do?
So it slightly tightens the skin in the area, just temporarily. It's not a permanent fix. But
So you don't do it every day?
You can do it every single day, but if you don't do it, then it hasn't made a real change in the skin. But it's like a temporary
Where do I get
fix.
that?
You can just buy. Rapidly looking it
Where
up
do
on
I get
Amazon.
that? Ferociously.
I'll put it in the show notes.
But was that, so going back to the growth factors and the exosomes and the peptides.
So that's where people now are really kind of focusing. Because you're right,
Yes.
fillers are not going to be good in this area.
Right.
And little bits of filler placed quite deep can be helpful for people who have hollowing there. And I'm talking minuscule, tiny
I'm
bits.
talking topical for those of people who can't afford it, who don't want to do it. I don't want to ever put anything under my eyes. I don't put fillers in my face. I really don't. I've done my lips and haven't done them in years because I'm sure there's enough biofilm around it to last me for the rest of my life. I'll never have
Money
to
well
touch them.
spent.
Thank you. But under my eyes, I use great eye creams and they're wonderful, but makeup will still sit, crease in there and stuff.
So
Is there anything I can do or the average person can do under their eyes to make that crepiness a little bit better?
So SPF, yes. Tretinoin, yes. And tretinoin is very irritating when you first start using it up around the eyes.
I love the tingle.
But yeah, so taking that right up carefully, that will then start to reverse the signs of aging around the eyes. And in fact, that was the area that was studied at the very beginning in the late 80s, looking at exactly this periorbital area. So you can take the tretinoin all the way up to that area. So they're the two things that you can actively do topically that will make a change.
Will these things I asked you about, the exosomes, the peptides, these trigger words that are now hot right now, do they make a difference?
So we don't have enough evidence for me as a doctor to sit here and say, yes, that's going to make a difference. It's definitely an area that's being explored. Exosomes, there's so many different kinds of exosomes, and we need to understand where the exosomes have come from, when we're thinking about what sources they are, whether they're pigs or where have these exosomes come from? The same with stem cells. So we have to be so careful with what the sources of these things are.
Colostrum and all that stuff I used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, where are you getting it? Bovine colostrum? I don't know. Because you hear about this beef tallow thing that everybody's on right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
So again, I mean, there's just much more moisturizing things that you can use on the skin than beef tallow.
Right. What do you do besides Cleara at night? And sunscreen? What do you do? Because you are always shining and glorious and beautiful and glassy.
So from a topical point of view, my SPF in the morning. I do like that Petiox from SkinCeuticals.
You
which
have
is
a
the
lotion
peptide.
on. You have something on
right now.
Besides your sunscreen, every time I see you, you're shiny.
Oh, my moisturizer.
What do you use?
La Roche-Posay Lipicar Balm AP plus M, which is actually a moisturizer. I say it like that because I say it so many times in clinic.
Right.
I feel like I'm so sick of saying this.
Is it balmy?
It's a really thick cream. Yeah, it's really, really thick. It's actually predominantly used for children with eczema, and you can use it all over their body. But I use that as my daily moisturizer.
Will you write these down for me? Because when I leave, I can't get those La Roche-Posay things in America.
Yeah, I've actually got them for you in Paris because that was the other thing I did. Yes.
Oh my God, she's the best. What a friend.
So Michelle also then texted me, I'm in Paris. What do I need to buy?
I did. I was like, French pharmacy. Where are we on our walk, by the way?
Oh God, yeah.
Are we at the bridge?
We are at the bridge.
Okay,
We've
we're at
just
the
got to the bridge. Yeah, we just got to the bridge and we're back in the little village again, and now we're walking through.
Yes.
But this is the point where I actually could turn my way and go home, but I'm not going to. I'm going to walk a little bit further along because we actually haven't quite finished, which is always what happens.
Always the case.
Do you ever go out to an event and not wear any makeup?
I'm not quite Pamela Anderson yet. And I think Alicia Keys did it first. So let's give credit where credit is due. I don't wear makeup ever on my day-to-day. I'm not wearing makeup right now. I have a little bit of mascara on. That is it. I think that our skin, I could be wrong, you're going to tell me you're a doctor, but sometimes I think our skin needs a break. When you're putting all that stuff on, as heavy as I wear it for work, as masterfully as it is applied, my skin is still taking it in. And I went through this phase of using all natural cosmetics, and they don't hit the same. They just don't work the same on television. They don't have the same coverage, impact. I would love it. And we're coming so far with clean cosmetics, but they don't quite hit the same. So
I'm all for the chemicals.
yes, no, I know you are. You're a doctor. But I did try for a long time. Point being, I have not gone to an event yet where I'm going to be on the red carpet. I've gone to events, but not where I'm going to be on the red carpet makeup free yet.
But it's part of your look, isn't it, whenever you go out? It's a bit like, would you turn up on the red carpet and not be wearing one of your fabulous outfits?
No, but Pamela Anderson wouldn't either. And she's the one who redefined that and reclaimed that. And I kind of worship that.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I've always been this girl. When I would date boys or bring them back to my house after night clubbing and stuff back in the day, the first thing I would do would be make them see me without makeup. Because if they didn't like the way I looked without makeup, because I don't wear it normally, they weren't the one for me. And I'm the same way now. Even when I film, if there's a celebrity that I want to meet and take a picture with, a lot of times I want them to see me without makeup. I don't know, it's my own weird thing, but I feel really validated when somebody says, oh my gosh, you're even more beautiful without makeup. I don't know why. I think
it is true. It is true.
That's very kind. That's because you love me.
I do, but I'm also honest.
And that's what I love about Northern Ireland. Always going to be honest. But I feel
you look like shit. Put your makeup on, love.
I would love that. I would love that. And I understand why people feel better with it. I feel more glamorous with it. But I don't know. If there's something really rewarding, I think it's because I've spent my life reading, learning, speaking, pontificating about health and living a healthy lifestyle. Even though I am far from perfect, I spent many years battling eating disorders. I spent many years addicted to sugar and junk food. My favorite food group of all is cake.
Is it still the same? Would you still think a cake is like your favorite thing to have?
100% with buttercream, not whipped cream, and thick. Like Costco birthday cake is like my favorite. So yes, but I can't eat it. I don't think about it as much. It used to be like when you have food issues and all that stuff is a whole different topic. That's all you do is obsess about what's going to be next and what's not going to be next, that type of thing. So for me, I get some kind of weird endorphin rush and a validation when somebody says, oh my God, you're so beautiful without makeup. It's like, am I? I don't know. I've always been that girl. I feel like it helps people see the real me.
I think it does. I mean, it's all fun and well getting dressed up, but it is the real person is the person who is actually underneath the makeup.
You never have makeup on and you're just stunning.
Thank you.
You are. You're just a beautiful woman. My skin goal is your face.
Oh, well, I actually think that you're surpassing mine. So
only because of Clara and you zapping anything that you see. Guys, if I go in and she'll have this one stupid spot that we've been trying to get, the trichosonoids or whatever it's called,
lichenoid keratosis.
That one. She'll zap it and then all of a sudden like getting up and she's like throwing me down going, no, here. She'll just keep going.
It's just another little thing. Let me just get that. Just another little thing. So I was thinking of trying to do these questions that were related to the skin clinic, but absolutely nothing to do with skin.
Okay.
But they do have the word skin in it.
Okay. All
Do
right.
you like what I did there?
All right. I love it.
Okay. So what makes you jump out of your skin?
Spiders.
Really?
Spiders. Horrific.
Like
I don't talk about
always?
it much because it's a real phobia.
Oh, right. Can you look at pictures of them or do they
I can look at a picture of it, yeah. I actually think they're beautiful. If you get zoomed in or see microscope ones, they're actually really cute and they're beautiful. But I'm not kidding. I've seen them. I remember my boyfriend at the time was not my husband, but he came home and I was in motorcycle boots up to my knees in underwear and a t-shirt because there was a spider and I was trying to find a coat to leave the house. I have left the house. I have shut doors. My kids I've had to call to help me. And now Lily's not scared because Lily's a botanist, but Lola is horrified by them. I don't know what it is.
I feel like some people are born with a fear of spiders.
Yeah.
I'm not frightened of spiders. My husband's not frightened of spiders.
Are you not?
No,
you could take it and get it out of the house?
I used to have a spider as a pet whenever I lived in Dubai.
What, a tarantula?
Yeah.
They don't bite.
Terry.
Terry the tarantula.
So what makes your skin crawl?
There's a lot of things that make my skin crawl, but I think inauthenticity makes my skin crawl. It just gives me that when people, you see how fraudulent they're being and they're not being themselves, it makes me sad at the same time because it's like, oh, you're missing what life is because you're so interested and so committed to making people think that you're something that you're not, that it makes me sad. But at the same time, it's like, ugh.
Do you get a lot of that in your industry?
I see a lot of it. Yeah. I'm not drawn to that. I run.
You're like the exact opposite.
100%.
You're like, this is everything. Yep. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. I've always been that way though, which is why I did not have a lot of friends growing up.
I can't imagine that.
People did not like that because everybody wanted to fit in, and I tried and I didn't fit in. Never. I really tried to be that. I wanted to be the popular kid. I wanted the girls to think I was cool. I wanted the boys to think I was pretty, and I wasn't. I was a weirdo.
Oh, I can't imagine you as a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
I was a geek.
Were you? Well, you're smart.
Yeah, I was a geek. And so have you ever had to shed your skin where you've reinvented yourself? Well, I mean, I know the answer to this because you've never reinvented yourself, but you've kind of like moved through different phases in your life. But
I'm a chameleon.
But you've still been you, but just learned about you as you move along life or something?
100%. Yeah. So if you listen to the universe's stage directions, right, you're going to go further in life. Like when I started radio was 1996, I'd already had a pop career and a song on the Bodyguard soundtrack as a pop artist, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. And I auditioned to be in breakfast radio. And I had never done it. I lied. I found a way to get in.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. And I did. And I had 17 years presenting breakfast radio, like at the top of the game in New York City, the #1 radio market in the world. So I did that by listening to the universe's stage directions. Because a lot of times, let's say you wanted to be a BMX racer. That's all you ever wanted to be. But you were going to school to, the world was saying, Emma, you're really smart. You should probably be a doctor. But you're going, no, I really want to ride these BMX bikes. And you just did that and you failed miserably because you couldn't pay your bills, whatever it is, it just wasn't for you. And really, if you listen to the universe, you'd be a doctor. So you did listen. It was obviously your passion and you followed it. But a lot of times we focus on something that we want, but really what we need is in front of us and we're just ignoring it. So I had to reinvent myself plenty of times. I didn't go to broadcasting school. I never set out to be in radio. It just found me. So I went with it. So that's just one of the reinventions. I'm constantly reinventing myself in a positive way. The best way I can say it is in order to grow, you have to let your old self die. And every time you're willing to have a funeral for that old self and move on to the next chapter, the new reborn self is going to be even bigger and better. That's a guarantee. That's not even an adage. It's a guarantee.
Sometimes people, they worry about what they'll lose if they give away a bit of themselves. Then it stops them from growing and it stops them from changing because, they might fail or it might not work. But so
they
like,
hold on
I'll
to
just
that.
Stay where I am because this is easier.
And it's not getting you where you want to be.
You have one life.
That's it. You have one life. Go for it. Get what you want.
We're actually at the last point of our walk.
No!
And I can't walk any further. You're going left and I'm going right.
Yes. This is where I go up the hill.
And I go round the corner.
No!
See you next week.
You got it. Same time, same place.
Thank you so much for joining me, Michelle. This has honestly been absolutely fabulous. I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap for us now at the After Hours Skin Clinic, and thank you for joining us. Why not say hi on our social media and send in your questions, big or small, that you'd like answers to. You can send them to ahsc@raconteur.tv. You can find us on Instagram at After Hours Skin Clinic, and all of that information will be in the show notes. If you enjoy this episode, then please do subscribe or follow us. It really helps our numbers grow. Goodbye, lovely listeners. Take care of your skin, wear your SPF, and I'll see you next time on the After Hours Skin Clinic. As always, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice. please consult your healthcare professional before making a change to your treatment.